Okay, here we are, BMW i3, the non-Rex version, and a very nice car it was. We were getting quite excited about this test drive. That sitting in the car surprised us. We really liked it. Like a little boutique hotel room is how it felt. Luxury design, materials felt very premium, very nice. Very impressed. Legroom was nice. I had the same issue with getting my foot back under the chair. That was a bit of a shame, but that's obviously the battery pack. But no centre console in the way, like the Leaf. Extremely comfortable. Nice cubbyhole armrest as well. I say seats looked a bit thin, but they were very comfortable, very supportive. Infotainment screens, they were a little bit small. They could have done with being a little bit bigger, in my opinion.
Right, so what I've found is spaciousness. It's a really spacious cabin, probably more spacious than any other car that I've driven, even though it looks like a smaller car from the outside. It's actually really cavernous on the inside. The leather actually feels like leather, not synthetic leather, as in the Nissan Leaf. So it feels more premium, even though this is recycled, I don't know, horses here, hemp, whatever it is. It feels more like a boutique hotel in here than it does a car interior. It's very, very nice. It doesn't have Android Auto, it does have Apple AirPlay. It's got its own sat-nav though, and that seems to work okay. Information is not as rich and abundant as the Hyundai. It's again adequate. I'll probably say it's quite weak on the information that's available. I've got battery percent, mileage, range to go, and a very small battery indicator, and that's about it. There's not a lot to go on, and I've got a trip meter with a miles per kilowatt setting on it, which we'll see what we actually get later. This is supposedly a 33 kilowatt hour battery in it. The salesman wasn't able to tell me exactly how much of that is usable, so I'm just not sure. Performance, I've put my foot down a couple of times. It's definitely faster than the Nissan Leaf. It accelerates extremely aggressively. The 1-foot driving feature, like an e-pedal, I suppose. My first thought, I've never driven a car like it. It feels like it's got the handbrake on all the time. So as you put it in drive and take your foot off the brake, nothing happens. There's a resistance there. So it takes a squeeze off the throttle to make the car move at all, and as soon as you take your foot off the throttle, it doesn't coast, it just comes to a stop. It's a nice feel. It's nice once you know it's going to happen and what it's actually doing. It's easy to adapt to. It just took me by surprise to start with. It did feel like there was a handbrake on. What else can we say? The rear doors don't have windows that open, so you can't open them to get some air in the car. That was interesting. Just take my foot off the throttle to let that car in. It braked automatically. It's definitely an odd feel, one to get used to. There's no manual regen of braking, so I can't invoke it manually. It's basically in this e-pedal 1-foot mode all the time. Seats really comfortable. They look quite sporty. They do have some side support. They look thin, but no, they're very, very comfortable. What else can I say so far? So far, interior-wise, I would say it's different to the Ioniq, but as luxury, if not more so. It's got a beauty to it that the Ioniq doesn't have in its design, and I like it. It's probably a Marmite thing. You're either not going to like it or really like it, and yeah, I think the interior is really, really nice. I could certainly live with it more than other interiors that I've seen so far. Drivability, it does seem quite wobbly. I'm not things about the one pedal driving is a situation there. I wanted to take my foot off just so we didn't catch up this truck that's in front, but in doing so it then lurched me forward because it was braking, and I didn't want it to. I just wanted to not accelerate anymore. So I guess perhaps that's how smooth I am on and off the throttle. I'll have to get used to that a bit more. Right, that'll do as a review to start with. Very, very pleasant, more pleasant than I'd expected. I wasn't expecting to be impressed at all because of how quirky it was, but yeah, a really nice car to drive. I'm quite pleased with it so far, and it'll be interesting to see when we get back to the house what efficiency we've managed. I'm driving as reasonably economical as possible on a dual carriageway most of the way home, so we should be able to get a good comparison to what I achieved on a similar run in the Nissan Leaf. And then we'll do another similar country run, taking the back roads on the way back when we take the car back. Test drive wise and dealer experience, yeah, the nicest coffee we've been offered, in fact the only coffee we've been offered. The people in there were really, really nice and friendly. It's a warmer welcome than we had at either Hyundai or Nissan, and very, very helpful. The insurance for the test drive has £1,000 excess on this one, so even higher than the Hyundai test drive. Not that we're planning to have an accident, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, that's the first part of the test completed. We're down from 94.5 battery to 83%, although the number of miles on range has gone up, so obviously I've been driving reasonably economically. It says I've been getting 4.9 miles per kilowatt hour, and I've accelerated a bit more than I did with the Leaf, so this is my gut feel just on the first 10-13 miles of dual carriageway driving is it's as efficient and as possible to get the same miles per kilowatt hour than I could in the Leaf. Right, what else have we got? Let's see what I can see on this system menu. Trip computer. Okay, it's the same stuff that I've got there, so yeah. To see whether the car is actually on or not, it's the ready. The ready means it's on, and if I turn it off, how about that? I didn't have the air conditioning on at all, but there was some sort of fan going in the car. It's now gone very, very quiet in here. It's a very high up car. The wheels are very tall at 19-inch, and that has two impacts on us. You fall out of the car, that it's very much an MPV ride height. A little unnecessary really to fall out from the height you do, so it's not a perfect height for getting in and out. The worst thing I've noticed on the car then is that waywardness, the lolling that it does. Whether that was just an innate feature of the car with the wheels and how it drives, I don't know, or whether that was the wind, but it was almost like you'd get motion sickness from it. It was just moving around a lot, whereas the Leaf had a very light feel to the steering. It was more planted as a car than this. I wouldn't say that was a pleasant drive. I think I could adjust my one pedal driving to smooth it out and get used to it and enjoy it. So that side isn't an issue, but it's very much an on or off car. You know, it accelerates quite. I was going to say aggressively, but no, assertively, and it brakes extremely well as well. The regenerative braking is it's not sharp, but again, it's most certainly sure-footed. You come to a precise stop, you don't need the brakes at all with this, which is a good thing if you like it, a bad thing if you don't. Susan with me didn't like this at all. It was giving her motion sickness. I could feel it moving around. but at least I've got hold of the steering wheel, so that was better for me. For her sat in the passenger seat, there was a lot of rolling around in the car, there was a lot of movement, so we can decide quite quickly that this car isn't for us based on that alone. I want to enjoy the drive, and that wasn't enjoyable for that point of view. The performance is fun, the performance is nice, the ride is firm to bumpy. The Leaf was much more comfortable over terrain than this, so comparing like for like, I would say, just having done those first few miles, the Leaf wins out of the two. It's more comfortable drive. I don't need the performance, and I would sacrifice the lovely interior for a better, more comfortable drive. Efficiency wise, it looks similar, if not better. If I try on the country lanes later, I'd expect to get better than the Leaf, but because it hasn't got such a large battery, the range of the Leaf probably wins down on that as well. So if this can get up to 150 miles, that's probably more the maximum end of the range. If I'm seeing 120 to 130 in this at the moment, I'm guessing that the Leaf, since yesterday I saw an indicated range of up to 170, 180, then range wise that's better than this BMW i3. I'm a bit gutted, to be honest, because the one thing you expect from a BMW is that the drive would be really enjoyable, it'd be really nice. They're known for a dynamic drive. I really like the interior, and I feel I've been let down by the car's drivability. So no, this isn't for us. Lovely cool interior, some features I could have got used to, but the combination of the lower battery size and mostly just how it drives generally, it's not for us. Boot space is a lot smaller than the Leaf. Looks smaller than the Kona as well, massively smaller than the Ioniq. Rear legroom is quite tight. I can get my feet just under the seat quite easily, but in my normal driving position my knees are rubbing on the back of the seat. But spread to the side, it's comfortable. The back seats are comfortable, plenty of headroom. But what I just noticed getting in is the same issue here, cracking your head. You really have to duck to get out. It's not the easiest of motions to get out over this lip. So no, I didn't enjoy getting in and out of that at all. Overall, disappointing. So the second part of the journey, we've taken the car straight back since we didn't like it. It's done 41 miles in total, which isn't a lot. We've got better efficiency, 5.3 miles per kilowatt hour than the Nissan Leaf. It seemed easier to do it. I would guess that the regenerative braking is much more effective. So we've got 101 miles of range left on 68.5% of battery. According to my rough calculations, this should be capable of getting 150 mile range without too much difficulty. So I've had chance now to think about the test drive that we did in the i3,
it was an interrupted test drive that we basically aborted. We didn't feel there was any reason to keep testing and keep looking at it any further because we'd decided that it was not for us. Yes, we could have tested and got more information up for these videos, but that's really not the point. What I'm looking at is what cars I'm interested in, why. So, in summary, what did I think of the i3? It was a lovely interior. We thought it would just be a shopping trolley when we got there because of the weird external looks, but the interior was really, really nice, extremely comfortable. The front was very spacious, the back was not. It was a little too high for us getting in and out. It wasn't easy getting in and out of the back. So I think the issue with the back seats and getting in and out, you could probably live with that because I wouldn't be doing it that often. So I think that's not a big issue. The efficiency side of things, the car definitely seemed like it was capable of the 150-mile range. I didn't seem to have to try as hard as I did in the Leaf to get the results that I got on that short test. So yeah, the i3 very, very capable. But what was astonishing really was the ride. Now, I know some people again will think, what on earth is he on about, all these cars are wayward and stuff, but there really was an unusual sense in the car because accelerating was aggressive. And as you take your foot off, it was very, very firm in how it regenerated. So you basically lurch forward and then you'd lurch back, and you'd lurch forward and you'd lurch back. And yes, you can adjust your driving style to smooth that out, but that potential is still there. And then if you add to that the combination of how wobbly it felt, basically it felt like it was very tall and the weight distribution wasn't quite right, so it was, I wouldn't say like a 2CV, but you know what I mean. It's not like a sports car. It was more towards the movement of a car like a 2CV. So there was, that's a really bad analogy to it, I know, but there was that movement from the top of the car going side to side. So you're going forwards and back, and sideways. And it's no wonder that Susan was feeling slightly car sick from that. I tried a couple of times to aggressively put the throttle on and then off, and it was awful. It was really, really aggressive. BMW, my thoughts, you desperately need economy, normal and sport mode on that, so you can tone that down and tune out the aggressiveness of the throttle and make it smoother. It's just crying out for it. It would be so much more of a relaxing car to drive if you could smooth that out without having to be so fragile on your foot. I didn't mind the one pedal driving. I could really get used to that. I do wonder what happens to somebody that just completely forgets about the brake and when you need it in an emergency. So I hope it's got automatic braking, collision avoidance. But the other thing to really comment on was the comparison to the Ioniq, the difference in how they're going about implementing the electric vehicle. The Hyundai, you take your foot off the throttle and it just coasts, it glides effortlessly, there's no resistance, it feels frictionless. The BMW, completely the opposite. There is continually, from the moment you set off to the moment you come to a stop, a sense of pressure, a sense of inertia. So you can feel that drag, and that's how I was describing. It felt like there was a handbrake on. You can feel that sensation through your body constantly, and it almost feels like the motor has got lots of drag in it. And I can only believe that that's intentional for the regeneration of braking. So whereas Hyundai are focusing on its aerodynamic efficiency and coasting, BMW perhaps are focusing more on the energy conversion back into the battery. But for me, that makes the Hyundai a much smoother, better drive. The BMW, those sensations weren't welcomed. If you take those sensations of the inertia away, and you take away the sharpness of the aggression, of the acceleration, and the regenerative braking, and the wobble on the top, the car would be fantastic. but it's just got that level of uncomfortableness, as I said, of moving around, forward and back and side to side. And for me, that was an absolute no-go. It was the worst of everything I've tested so far. So yeah, comparing the i3 to the Leaf, I'd go for a Leaf all the time. I definitely believe I could have adjusted my seating position better in the Leaf to make that a more comfortable drive for me. But the i3 was just an absolute no-go, so hence we aborted the test and took the car back early, which surprised the dealer. I just didn't want to waste my time really continually driving something that I wasn't enjoying, and Susan didn't enjoy it either, so she took a dislike to it straight away, which was interesting because she actually took a dislike to the car before we even got to look at it, but while I was dealing with the insurance for the test drive, she sat in one in the showroom and instantly liked it. So I think a lesson to be learnt there is, don't have preconceived ideas about do I like it or don't I like it just from other people's reviews. Go and have a look. Go and touch it, feel it, sit in it, and try it for yourself. Because we went from not thinking we'd like it at all to actually both really liking the interior, and me expecting the drive to be really good, but it turned out not to be very good. Yeah, the acceleration was much better than the Leaf, and it cornered, I thought, better than the Leaf as well. So there were some aspects of it that were extremely good, but just for level of comfort in the driving and the enjoyable driving style, it wasn't for us. So there you go. That's my review of the i3, and unfortunately the i3 is 100% out. There is no way I would pay that much money for one of those when a Leaf, even though I think a Leaf's expensive for what it is better value. It does more. You've got the range, you've got the comfort, you've got a lot more features. I think the Leaf was better value. Interior though, the BMW interior was a lot nicer. So isn't it a shame that you can't mix and match these things and build these things with the standards you want? Because if you can take the best aspects of some of the cars and add it to the others, it would be absolutely fantastic. So one day that car will be made, and one day we'll all want it and want to buy it. But it's not there yet. There are compromises with all of them. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. As always, in awe of the amount of people that are currently watching and following me. This is my journey of looking for a car and my research and my opinions. And it might add some insight for some other people, but it might be completely irrelevant as well to some people. So I will keep going, especially while people are increasingly watching. And the quest continues. Where next? I was asked that because there aren't many options left. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to look at the Kia Soul, even though I'd sort of written it off right from the start from the boxiness, because that's what I'm learning. You can't write things off, you've got to go and look at them. So I'll go to Kia and see what they've got to offer in the electric vehicle range. I'm still very interested in placing a pre-order for a Kona at the moment. That's high up my list. The Ioniq is still probably top of the list for value for money and comfort and luxury and drivability, so that's still high up the list. And the Golf. The Golf, I can't believe I haven't been able to get hold of one yet and haven't got round to ordering a test drive for it, because if a Golf drives just like an ordinary Golf and I can get the 150 mile range from it, then it's got so many plus points for it. So I really want to try the e-Golf and see how that fits against the Ioniq and the Leaf that I've already driven. So that's where I'm going next. Thanks again for watching. See you again soon. Bye.